Okay, Thursday, May 14th. This is our 2-minute drill. The big news story of the day is apparently the Seahawks offered Russell Wilson to the Cleveland Browns for the #1 overall pick in 2018. Solly, is this a crazier move that the Seahawks offered it or that the Browns turned it down?
I think it's a crazier move that the Seahawks even offered it to begin with, because remember, they were doing this as they were going into contract negotiations with Russell Wilson. So it was all to save a few dollars. But at the end of the day, remember, Russell Wilson wasn't that long ago that he represented, 80% of the Seahawks offense during the entire 2017 or 2018 season? This is a guy that has led this team to the postseason in 7 of the 8 years that he's been the quarterback. And he's been the quarterback from day one when he was drafted in 2012. So he's meant everything to them without very little help from a running game, no pass rush. But at the end of the day, Russell Wilson, if he has the ball in his hands on the very last drive of the game, he's going to find a way to win it for you. So just to think about the Seahawks was ready to ship him out, it boggles the mind.
Yeah, Sully, I agree with you. I mean, in the sense that, they made the playoffs 7 of the 8 years Russell Wilson was quarterback. Up until that point, it was 5 of 6. But that 6th year was 2017, where Wilson earned just a 75.3 passing grade. He's been one of the most valuable players in the NFL the last 2 years, which I think sullies a little bit of what we view this looking like. I think the Browns made the error because when you look at that, you're buying low on a player like that. You're buying, Mayfield gives you maybe a little bit more upside relative to most quarterbacks, but not the one that they were going to get, as a result of this possible trade.
Yeah, I'm with you, Eric. I think, look, I can at least see why the Seahawks made the offer. They've never embraced Russell Wilson as this, be-all and everything of their franchise the way some other teams have with their quarterbacks. They seem to consistently try and minimize his impact and even undermine what he's doing sometimes. So for them to ship him off for the #1 overall pick, I think makes some sense. For Cleveland, though, you have been desperately trying to find any kind of franchise quarterback for decades. To have one offered up to you on a plate and the only thing you're losing is having to pay him a lot of money is nuts. Like, forget about Baker Mayfield or any other quarterback in that draft. Take the All-Pro, pay him his money, and be thankful.
Yeah, can you see it? Russell Wilson coming back to the great state of Ohio, where he was born, by the way, right here in Cincinnati. All right, our second question. I can't believe I'm going to ask this, but I'm going to lay it out there for you guys anyway. Who is the #1 challenger for player of the decade other than Tom Brady?
We live in like a championship sort of like mentality. I know he doesn't have any during this particular decade. He had one in 2009, but I think it's Drew Brees. I mean, Brees led the NFL in wins above replacement in 2011. Aaron Rodgers won the MVP. He did so in 2014. Aaron Rodgers won the MVP. The last 3 seasons, he's taken a Saints team that struggled for the middle part of the decade and gave them 3 consecutive NFC South championships. Brady's head and shoulders above everybody else, but for me, the best challenger is a player at his position who's been about as good, over the past 10 years.
So the hard thing about this list was weighing up, how well a guy's played versus how long he has played in the decade. And the list was created with an all positions being equal thing. So if you were a great guard or a great cornerback or a great, receiver, you could be every bit as high as the quarterbacks. It wasn't just about the wins. So with that in mind, I think Aaron Donald has the best case. I know he only came into the league in 2014, but what he has done since has just been absolutely absurd. He is only 30-odd total pressures behind Ndamukong Suh, who played the entire decade. Aaron Donald is pressuring the quarterback at a higher rate than anybody else in the NFL by a distance, and he's doing it from an interior alignment where he's supposed to get less pressure. No matter how good you think Aaron Donald is, you're probably underselling it, and so I think he's the guy with the best case.
Well, my answer to this question is no one, because no one comes close to what Tom Brady has done over the last decade. Not only is he the GOAT for the first 100 years of our league, he's the greatest player, the greatest of all time over the last 10 years. His 2% turnover worthy play ratio is incredible. It's insane. And his run from 2015 through 2018, I don't know that any player or any quarterback has played at that level that Tom Brady has played. But I have to agree with Eric. If you're going to force me to take one, I think it would have to be Drew Brees. Drew Brees has set completion percentage records just about every single year. He's broken his own records. When he's done playing, he's going to sit at the top of the record board of every single quarterback category that you can possibly name. So I would go Drew Brees, but the real answer to the question is absolutely no one.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great discussion topic. And now that Tom Brady is out of the AFC, it looks like there are two teams, Kansas City and Baltimore, that are going to be vying for the sort of top spot. And now only one team gets the first round bye, so it's super important. But we're going to talk about who's the third best team in the AFC behind those two.
Yeah, I think that's a great discussion point because it's tough. I think those are the two clear top teams, and after that, it really is a bit of a crapshoot. I think you could be looking at any number of teams, whether it's the Pittsburgh Steelers, who still look to be the favorites in that division behind Baltimore, whether you expect the Bills to kick on without the Patriots being the threat in the AFC East, and maybe realize potential that's locked away in Josh Allen, given that the rest of that roster is so good. I think it's probably one of those teams, or the Indianapolis Colts with Phillip Rivers. They were a championship caliber team without a quarterback. Now they have a quarterback, assuming he's still capable of his best play.
Hey, look, I believe in the formula that quarterback plus a defense with pressure and coverage on the back end equals the chance to win a championship. And for me, that's the Pittsburgh Steelers with a healthy Ben Roethlisberger and a quartet of receivers like Juju Smith-Schuster, James Washington, Deontay Johnson, and the recently added rookie Chase Claypool. I think this offense is back on top if Ben comes back as a better Ben, as his general manager has stated. And remember, this is a defense, it's the only defense in the NFL who's had over 50 or more sacks in each of the last 3 years. They've generated more pressure of any defense over those last 3 seasons. And now on the back end, they have 3 cornerbacks that ranked in our top 25 last year. And we know the secondary can turn the ball over. I think if they put it all together, I think Ben has another championship run in him. If it's going to happen, it's going to have to happen in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, that defense was able to win 8 of 10 games in the middle of the season. Now they lost their first 3 and their last 3, but really impressive. A guy who won 7 of his 10 starts, though, after taking over from Marcus Mariota, is going to be the fulcrum of my answer here, which is the Tennessee Titans. That team got better defensively with Christian Fulton in the draft. They get A.J. Brown back for a second season. Derrick Henry, who, long-term, probably not a great play for them, but he had over 1,000 yards after contact last year, if you count the playoffs. And the key here, which often happens when these quarterbacks pop up and regress, that's not going to happen in Tennessee, is Arthur Smith stays as the offensive coordinator. So for me, when I look at that division, I'm going to fade Phillip Rivers a little bit, and Indianapolis on sort of a 1-year deal here, and I'm going to go to Tennessee, a team just 1 game away from the Super Bowl a season ago.
You want to get rid of me and get back to more great PFF YouTube content? All you have to do is push that button right there and subscribe. Thanks for watching.